It is the November 5th, 2020 Town Board meeting. We have special guests to lead us in our pledge. With a record of 52-12-3, the second ranked travel team in New York State, the 2020 East Fishkill Patriots 11U baseball team. Please rise for the flag.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry, Nick.
Nice, good job. Coach Prince, come up. I have certificates here. Each has each name on it. I'm going to read it aloud. Guys, thank you for coming out. The town board would like to commend you on your great job. We have a certificate of achievement here for each of you. The town board and residents of East Fishkill would like to commend the 2020 East Fishkill Patriots 11U baseball team for your achievement as a member of the East Fishkill Patriots team. Your hard work and dedication has helped your team achieve champion status. Number 2 ranked travel team in New York State, the USA BL World Series champions, the GHVBL Elite Fall League champions, the USA BL Turf War champions, the USA BL World Series qualified champions, Jesus, guys. The Rockfall Bash champions, the NYEB All-American Wood Bat champions, the NYEB Independence Day Classic champions. Your champion status is something to be proud of. Congratulations to each of you. Coach, I'd just like to thank you, our coach, David Prince, and his assistant coach, Kevin Wisner, Ryan Batke, and Leah Wisner. A round of applause for them as well.
Nick, thank you very much. I'd just like to say really quickly, these boys are true East Fishkill Patriots. They love representing our town, and I love going to different fields all over the country and people saying, there's that East Fishkill baseball team. So we love putting you guys on the map. We love representing you, and I can't thank you enough. It means a lot to the boys and the families to have us all here tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach. And Coach, right before you exit, if each one of them could come up and say their position, we'd love that.
Absolutely. Sean Caragini.
Third base.
Aiden Seckley.
Outfield and pitcher.
Andy Jarmark.
Second base.
Anthony Backhay.
Shortstop and catcher.
Christopher Trumpler.
Right field.
Jeremy Fordley.
Third base pitcher.
Logan Wisner.
First base catcher.
Max Sellinger.
Second base shortstop.
Mikey Prince.
Catcher pitcher.
Nick Mondi Mondosando.
center field and pitcher.
Nick Colcachino.
First base.
Last but not least, Roy Underwood.
Left pitcher and short.
Thank you for having us, guys. Have a beautiful night.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you all. Appreciate you coming. Thank you. So, good evening, everyone. Tonight is a special meeting. We have a special public hearing. We're joined with our East Fishkill Planning Board. Welcome, Planning Board members. Thanks for joining us. This public hearing is combined for a few different reasons. One, efficiency. We, the Town Board and Planning Board, must have a public hearing for this application tonight, and this gives us an opportunity where we can open it up, the Town Board, Planning Board, hear about the project, ask questions. Also, under the East Fishkill ordinance, the Town Board has to issue an economic redevelopment special permit. The Planning Board has to do their review for the site plan as well. So it's a good opportunity to share this opening of the public hearing together. Town Board is lead agency, and I'm sure that we will hear a lot once we open up the public hearing, but I just wanted to mention that. At our last, we can open the door for all of them to come in, please? Yeah, thank you. At our last meeting, the Town Board we held our budget public hearing, which we closed and adopted the 2021 budget. Even with COVID, we knew we were going to have some significant losses of revenues. East Fishkill did not break the New York State mandated tax cap. We did not lose any services whatsoever. And I really have to thank our Town Board. I have to thank our comptroller for their assistance. I couldn't do it without any of them. And it's really also because of good planning. Once COVID began, I implemented hiring and spending freezes. That, coupled with the Town Board passed a retirement incentive, which a few employees did take advantage of, we're able to cut some costs. Like I mentioned last meeting, East Fishkill, the town, is a corporation. We're a $25 million corporation, and that's how we run it. We run it like a business. We have to cut costs, we have to improve efficiency, and we have proven to do that. We have a tremendous staff, too. They're second to none. They have been working harder, doing more tasks, even since the Town Board did not fulfill all those positions that we had retired. People have been taking up more tasks to do, and I thank each and every one of them. So thank you to our staff, our department heads. We couldn't do it without you. East Fishkill Fire District, I had my monthly meeting with Fire Commissioner Earhart last month. Usually we have these meetings once a month to keep communication going. We discuss any issues the fire district could potentially have, any issues that the town has with the fire district or vice versa. We discuss projects that are happening into the town. We discuss potential new projects coming to the town. So we really try to get as much communication together as possible. We have a really wonderful working relationship with the fire district. We do try to have quarterly meetings with myself, the deputy supervisor, town attorney, just to keep all communication with the rest of the staff open as well. This is an all-volunteer fire district. They save our town residents a tremendous amount of tax dollars. If we had to go to a full-time or even a part-time fire department, it would be a significant tax increase. So we're very fortunate to have such dedicated and wonderful volunteers in our fire district. So thank you to all of them for their dedication and hard work. I had a meeting with what I call all the Fishkills, East Fishkill, Town of Fishkill, Village of Fishkill. The mayor and supervisor from Fishkill came down last week. We had a discussion about water. They are both part of my water and sewer collaborative that I started a few years ago in the county. But this meeting was specifically to discuss the water available in the Shenandoah line. As I stated before, we have proposed projects coming down Route 52 corridor, and we have to make sure that each of these projects have water. That's one main component of any project. So I want to make sure, the town board wants to make sure that any developer comes here, that we're 100% covered in any way, shape, or form to provide water to any of these projects, either through our Shenandoah line, which we get the water through Fishkill, or through the Dutchess County Water Wastewater Authority. So my job and the town board's job is to make sure we do our due diligence to provide this. So this is why I have these meetings with the mayor and the supervisor, and I appreciate them coming down, and they are very, very helpful to our town, so I thank them both. Speaking of Route 52, there's a lot going on. I've been having multiple meetings lately with Blue Water Group, which we will hear about tonight, and iPark as well. iPark is considering doing some more new construction. We have been discussing iPark a lot lately. They have been expanding. They have, to date, provided 700 new jobs to the town. So we have to do a lot of looking when these projects come. We have to look at water, sewer, other impacts to the community. So, and that happens even before we have a public hearing. A lot of work is done, and I just really like to thank all my professionals for all their hard work, all their due diligence. I've really been like a tyrant lately to them, I have to say. Been tasking them with a lot of work, and I just want to say thank you to them all. Speaking of Route 52, everybody probably sees the new park and ride on the east side of the Taconic Parkway, I'm sorry, the west side of Taconic Parkway. That was done by the New York State DOT. This was sorely needed. The old lot was at capacity, and they did construct, and they 100% funded the project. East Fishkill, we will fund all the maintenance for both sites. On the east side, they are redoing it. They are going to match the west side where they did the new park and ride. It really came out nice. I spoke to the regional director, Lance McMillan. We will be having a small ribbon cutting ceremony, and I'll let everybody know when that is. Today, I had a long call with our county executive, all the mayors and supervisors in Dutchess County, for the upcoming possible submission to the CDBG grant program. Also this year, they expanded it to a CDBG COVID-related impacts. So what happens is they offer these grants, and there's a lot of qualifications that we have to meet in order to receive them. They're very stringent. We have to meet the eligibility type, which is either for public services, economic development, or housing. They also have to meet low to moderate income population, and the activity must prepare, prevent, and respond to coronavirus. It's difficult to meet all that criteria, but we have been working together with Dutchess County, possible of a joint application with other Dutchess County municipalities to see if we can meet some of those requirements. So Dutchess County is working on that, and I thank them for their help. The traditional CDBG grant program, we are having a public hearing tonight after our Blue Water public hearing, and that is to discuss any potential projects that we could qualify for the CDBG program. I mentioned before in the past that East Fishkill has been fortunate enough to receive grants in the past for the CDBG program. Last year, we received $88,000 to go towards our Red Wing bathrooms, and Julie's Jungle has received over $300,000. That was for our all-inclusive playground at Lime Kiln. We will discuss that more when we open the public hearing for that. But also today, the county executive did go over the next step for the development of the Municipal Pandemic Operation Plan. This is the Emergency Response Pandemic Operation Plan development that New York State wants us to have done by April 1st. So not only do they want us to have the police reform done by the end of March, they also want us to have pandemic operation plans done by April 1st. So New York State, very progressive. They task us with all this, and keep in mind, it's at our cost, all our taxpayer costs. It's a mandate from the state. They don't give us any money to do any of this. But we have to do it, and we will be ready for it. Dutchess County is assisting all the municipalities in the county with that as well. Also, we discussed the online Dutchess County Planning Referral Tool, which at that point I probably fell asleep on the call, but I'm sure it will be well received. And also the Shared Services Plan update, which we do take advantage of. Also, many of you know we've been fixing, remodeling Town Hall for the last several years. We've been doing this mainly by our talented Highway Department. Thank you, Highway Superintendent, he's here somewhere. Many of your employees, they have great carpentry skills, plumbing skills. At the end of the day, it saves the town and the taxpayers a lot of money. Town Hall is an older building. There are many things to be repaired and fixed, and we have been doing that, and they have been wonderful to help us with that. But one thing we can't fix is more space. The town is growing. We are acquiring more and more water and sewer districts every year, and we need to add staff to that. We've been discussing hiring new staff for our water and sewer department, and also possibly an assistant engineer, and possibly a new zoning administrator with a shared service with the town of Beekman. So it's hard to fit everybody in this building. We are trying to plan to do that. We do have underutilized space in town at other locations, so we're also looking at that. It's difficult here because we have a very busy court. We have the 4th busiest court north of New York City in New York State. And during tax season, it's difficult because our tax collection office is very busy. There's lines wrapped around the building for the court, for the tax collecting. So we're trying to figure out a way where we could mitigate these problems. So I've discussed a little bit with the town board on how to do that, and we'll let you know what we will be doing. I'd like to congratulate our interim Wappinger Central School District Superintendent, Dr. Dwight Bonk. The Wappinger Central School District Board decided to install Dr. Bonk as the school superintendent until January, when they fill the position permanently, and I hope they pick him as well at that time. I have already had several phone calls with the new superintendent. He's called several times to discuss a few ongoings about the schools in our town. He also indicated to me that he'll be having separate meetings with myself and all the other supervisors and mayors of the towns and villages that make up the Wappinger Central School District. He's very proactive. I must say, since this whole coronavirus happened and the way the communication was with the school district's office, this is a breath of fresh air. He's willing to sit down, have meetings about everything and anything. I told him we are having new projects. We have to discuss traffic problems. We have to discuss possibility of water and sewer expanding down 376. Maybe those schools could take advantage of that. He's willing to sit down and talk about everything. So I just want to thank Dr. Bonk and congratulate him on his new position. He's going to do wonderful. Tuesday was Election Day, as everybody knows, and what a turnout. East Fishkill had over 88% turnout. We are one of the strongest turnouts in the whole county. I wish we could have turnouts like that in every election. But what a great country we have. Everybody's free to vote without any retribution. It doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with whoever we choose. We all can remain friends, and guess what? We're all Americans. We're all in this together. We just have to remember that we're here to work together. No matter what, we're here to look for the future for our town, for our county, for our state, and for our country. Here in East Fishkill and Dutchess County, we're truly blessed with a tremendous amount of dedicated and hardworking elected officials. I work with them day in and day out. We really don't even know what party we're at because it doesn't come into play. We try to assist each other. Everybody has the best interests of their municipalities at hand, and really that's the whole job. That's why we do this. So I want to thank all the many poll workers and volunteers who put in the long hours on Tuesday, all the people at Dutchess County Board of Elections who they're working tirelessly before and after the election, still working hard. And thank you to our police department. Our chief is here somewhere, or our lieutenant, for all the calls with the parking and issues there for all the election sites. You guys did a great job. And that's all I have. See, it wasn't that long tonight. Deputy Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilman Cassidy?
Present.
Councilman Franco?
Present.
Councilman Marinero?
Present.
Councilman Bieber? Present. And Supervisor Del Sandro?
Present. Thank you, Deputy Clerk. So, like I said, we have a joint public hearing. So I will open the public hearing. Do I have a motion to open a joint public hearing with the planning board in regards to issue Blue Water Realty special permit.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now open. Chairman, would you like to open the planning board?
I have a motion to open the planning board meeting for Blue.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
I don't have my paper here. Who's coming in? What are we waiting for?
I think she's just trying to connect.
Oh, very good.
We're trying to get the
Excellent.
exhibit so that they'll be able to demonstrate.
Excellent. Well, in the meantime, so we have, I've been discussing this several times. We have applicant Blue Water Property Group is proposing a 600,000-plus square foot warehouse on the West Campus, located on Route 52 behind the proposed sports dome. This will incorporate most of the site, and we will get into the specifics once they start their presentation. But we've been discussing this. The town board did pave the way for these type of developments to come here. We started our Business and Revitalization Economic Development Committee several years ago, and one of our key goals was to lure other companies here to try to develop this site. The site is an excellent site for development, has all the infrastructure needed, water, sewer, power. Power is very important. People don't think about that. Power on site, it's difficult to find the amount of power that they have available there. And also location, right off of I-84 corridor. It's a key property on the 84 corridor to be developed, and one of the last few underdeveloped sites that has the infrastructure that it has. So I think this will be exciting. We will get to Blue Water in a minute, correct?
That's correct.
And that microphone is there for you guys to use sitting, and
If
they
you
could...
want this some housekeeping, I could take.
Sure,
that off.
absolutely.
You have,
Oh. I don't know. It could be. You know,
Want to put the boards up?
Jackie, maybe she's too far from the screen?
That's what they were thinking.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
We're gonna bring it in and charge.
we'll put up the boards.
Okay.
that's why you'll be able to see them.
Yeah, Ryan, why don't you flip on this side and
Okay. While we do that, I am going to dial in John Eichman, Planning Board member. He was going to join us by call, by phone.
Pizza.
There's one here. Do you know a good pizzeria?
Hi, this is John Eichman speaking.
John, how are you tonight? Nick D'Alessandro.
Hello, Nick.
So we are about to go live now with Blue Water is going to be presenting. We just opened the public hearings, and I will put the phone up so you can hear everything going on.
Thank you so much. I
Yep.
really appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Ready to roll? Good evening Supervisor D'Alessandro, members of the Town Board. Good evening Chairman Smith, and members of the Planning Board. My name is Richard L. O'Rourke. I'm a partner with the law firm of Keenan Bean PC. We're pleased to be here tonight on behalf of Blue Water Group and the project that we're about to present. We're excited to come before the board for this project because it represents in our view, the exact purpose of the legislative objectives that the town board was sharp enough to realize that to revitalize a moribund site that had been vacant for 15 years, there was a necessity of providing a legislative framework in which the redevelopment could occur. And so with that, what we've done, and as the boards are fully aware, since 2005, the few remaining IBM operations that were on site were relocated from the IBM West Campus to the IBM East Campus. And of course, that then left vacant several 100,000 square feet of buildings, and it's been a long time. It's been over 15 years it's been sitting there. And so, as the supervisor pointed out, this application does not involve whatsoever the northern portion of that site, which was the site, or is the site, of the Sports Dome. That property, totaling 33.73 acres, is not part of this application. This application is for the redevelopment and repurposing of the southern portion of the property, which contains 123.86 acres. So during the 15 years that this remained vacant, I think there were a couple suitors that came forward, tried to figure out what to do with it, and thank goodness the board saw the foresight to adopt the legislation it did. And we believe that the application that we've put together and the mitigation measures that we are going to be incorporating into its redevelopment blend well, not only meeting the goals and objectives of the legislation, but also a revitalization and economic opportunity for this town. With me tonight, John DeCola, who's a partner with Blue Water, is here. He will be speaking. We have our consulting engineers from Langen Engineering here, and we anticipate that Trista Kuhn will participate in the presentation. And we're here to hear for the public hearing and to answer whatever questions you may have. And with that, let me turn it over to Mr. DeCola, and thank you again.
Ryan, put the, so good evening. I'm John DeCola. I'm a partner with Blue Water Property Group. We're a real estate development company that is exclusively dedicated to the logistics sector. We've been around for over 20 years and invested and developed across the country in over 25 markets. But our home market is the New York metro area, and over the course of our existence, we've owned or developed over 35 million square feet of development in the New York marketplace. Currently, we have 8 projects at various stages of development, totaling 4.5 million square feet. Closest one to here is actually only 15 minutes away west in Montgomery, where we're building a 1 million square foot facility. So familiar with the area, familiar with the market, and this is a site that we've actually been looking at for over a year and actually working on it hard for a year. And we've been attracted to the property largely because of the history of what's been there from IBM, and then also because of the positive actions that you have all taken to reposition the property for development. And what we recognized is that there is a clear path for redevelopment that fits very well with what we do. Some of the advantages, obviously, is touched on the infrastructure. Really important for us to have the connection. Actually, bring this one back up. The connection to I-84, and with what was there for IBM, there is just a great deal of traffic capacity to get from the interstate into the site. So that was something that was very positive. Obviously, the infrastructure that was there to support the facility, water, sewer, gas, electric, we're going to look to reuse a lot of that infrastructure. And then also, it's a large site, so we can do what we're looking to do while still be able to handle everything on the site, including our stormwater management plan, which is all contained within the boundaries of the property. The other thing that was really great about the property is to do what we do, the redevelopment, we're basically going to stay within the bounds of what was previously disturbed. So we're not going anywhere near wetlands or floodplains. We are staying away from existing treat areas and natural resource areas. And then also positioned where the property is, you have a lot of generous buffers from the surrounding uses. So from the standpoint of impacts of what's happening on the property, noise or sight lines, you're really pretty much buried back within the property. And then lastly, because of the economic redevelopment special permit, that action that you did to support the redevelopment of the property, that does again create that clear path. What is shown up on the plan right now, this is the proposed building for a specific tenant of ours. So we do have a tenant for the project, and this is geared towards their use. We're not at liberty to say exactly who that is tonight, but they are a household name, Fortune 500 company. And what they are doing out of the facility marries up very well with the site. So this is a 630,000 square foot distribution building. It is fairly self-contained within itself. So how this fits in with their business, the goods that will be coming to this project are coming from an existing facility within their logistics network, and then when it leaves here, it's also going to another facility within their logistics network. So from this facility, there is no local deliveries, and really what is important is that main connection to the highway. Ryan, put that plan back up. So how the operation by and large will work, both for truck movements and for employee movements, it's really the connection from I-84 with the infrastructure that is there with two dual lanes coming from the west, and then two dual lanes up Lime Hill Road, two left-hand turn lanes, and then through on I Park Boulevard, you have two lanes in each direction, clear pathway into the site. All trucks will be using that route. No trucks will be using the local road network. Pretty much similar in terms of employee trips to and from the site. By and large, it is going to be using just the I-84 connection. Now, the site does connect up with Route 52. That is, for us, for this project, is considered very secondary. We do not expect to throw or contribute a lot of traffic onto that road, but we do recognize that what has been on the plan or has been an objective of the town is to create a bypass road that would connect Route 52 to Lime Hill Road. And so we've embraced that as part of our project, where that access drive through the site will be dedicated as a public right-of-way, and we'll improve it to public right-of-way standards so that bypass can then act as a mitigating effect to help with the local road network. So that's the project overview. I'll hand it off to Trista, who will walk you through the site plan in more detail.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Trista Kuna from Langen Engineering, and I'm here tonight to speak to you about Project Redtail. So we have here a proposed rendering of the facility. So the building is 629,186 square feet. It is 50 feet 2 inches tall. We have here a rendering of what the main office entry would look like. This would be located on the east side of the building. So this is where the employees would enter the building as they come to work. So I'm going to flip back now to the overall site plan. So there are 132 loading docks to the north, west, and south sides of the building, and there are 702 trailer parking spaces. So the truck court is completely secure. So any truck that would enter the facility would enter at this guardhouse located at the northeast corner of the building. The truck would then circulate the site, drop off a trailer, pick up a trailer, and would then leave the facility at the southern guardhouse at the end of the property, and would then head back down Lime Kiln Road, back to 84. There are 1,000 car parking spaces proposed, located to the east of the building. So there are 2 drop-off areas, one along Auditorium Drive and one at the main entrance of the building. So the purpose of this is that way employees can be dropped off to the facility by their families, and they can, they don't have to commute to work. We've also been in conversations with Dutchess County Public Transit. That was a comment last time. So we had a very productive call with them on Monday. So they believe that Route F could be connected to this location because there is already a stop at the iPark Global Foundries campus. So they're evaluating the route timing and other considerations, but we are working towards a solution there. There are also 500 car parking spaces located to the very north of the property. So these are based on an agreement that the property owner has with the Sports Dome to provide these 500 car parking spaces. Although they are part of the application, they are not to be constructed at this time. We will also have monument signs located at the driveway entrances. We'll also have monument signs located at each of the driveway entrances, and the monument signs will have the tenant logo, and they will also have directional arrows and descriptions letting employees know which driveways to use and letting trucks know which driveways to use, so there's no confusion there. So to discuss access and circulation a bit, so South Drive, which had previously bisected the property north to south, will now get rerouted over to Auditorium Drive on the east side. As I mentioned, the car parking lot is to the east. There are 3 driveways, and there are the drop-off areas. So I'm going to switch to the zoomed out area. So I just want to emphasize again the truck route. So again, all trucks are coming from I-84. There is no local truck traffic, so trucks will not at any point be using Route 52. So all trucks will come off 84, make a north onto Lime Kiln Road, then make a left onto iPark Drive or South Drive. Along this route, they will then enter the site at that northern driveway that I had previously mentioned, circulate the site, leave the site at the southern driveway, and then continue back down iPark Drive, make a right on Lime Kiln Road, head south back to 84. So no trucks anywhere but that general vicinity that I just mentioned. Also want to discuss grading, drainage, and stormwater. So I want to emphasize first and foremost that we are not increasing any stormwater peak flows going towards Route 52, Gildersleeve Brook, Lake City, Wickapee Creek, anywhere. We are not increasing peak flows. Stormwater runoff will decrease as part of this project. So how are we doing that? There are a couple of basins that were constructed back in the 80s as part of the IBM campus project. So one is located to the west of the site. It's the West Detention Basin. There were also 2 basins on each side of Auditorium Drive, right along Route 52. So one of those is on our property, so we will be using the one on the east. So we will be reusing those basins, and again, not increasing any flows downstream of those basins. To accommodate the other additional runoff that we have on site, we have a wet pond for water quality and water quantity, so to detain the water and to treat the water. We also have a variety of bioretention basins and dry detention basins located along the west and east sides of Auditorium Drive. And there are also 2 small bioretention basins located in the trailer parking area. So bioretention basins are intended mostly for water quality, runoff reduction, so a little bit of infiltration. And the dry detention basins are intended for water quantity, so to again slow down the rate of runoff of the stormwater. There's also one additional basin that's currently partially constructed that is located actually on the Sports Dome campus. So when the Sports Dome project stormwater report was analyzed, they had to factor in both runoff from the Sports Dome site as well as the subject property, because the runoff, the high point of the site is roughly at 84, so the site drains to the north. So any runoff coming from our property would go onto their property. So therefore, they created this extended detention shallow wetland for the purposes of conveying runoff from the subject property. So it's partially constructed, but there are easements in place that allow us to finish the work that was never completed. So we will be making those improvements, making the connections to that basin, and using that basin as well as part of our project. So from a grading perspective, due to the sloped nature of the site, we do have several retaining walls. So there is a cut wall along the southern property boundary. So essentially that means that Interstate 84 and the area to the south is going to be higher than the subject property. And then we have fill walls along the west side of the property. So the proposed development is higher than the surrounding property, which makes sense. There are wetlands and other areas we're not disturbing over here, and you want to be higher than your wetland areas. And also, there's no planned export for this site. We plan on keeping it a balanced site, so no export of material. So moving on to utilities. So again, a great thing about this site is there's a lot of utility infrastructure already in place. So for water service, we plan on working with Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority, which is supplied by the Poughkeepsie Joint Water Board. So there is a central Dutchess water transmission line which runs directly from Poughkeepsie and serves the Global Foundries campus. It has a capacity of 10 million gallons per day, and it's our understanding that Global Foundries is currently using about 2 million gallons per day. So there's 8 million gallons of extra surplus. We are proposing 27,450 gallons per day, which is significantly less than that 8 million gallons per day. So there is ample capacity for water to serve the site. So the central Dutchess water line comes to an existing utility room located right in the northeast corner of that plan on the Global Foundries campus. From that point, it splits and it runs, a 12-inch water main runs along West Drive, so along that road, eventually heads west and comes onto the subject site. So we plan on reusing that water main for this project. There is, in that utility room, currently an RPZ, a backflow prevention device, that is in need of repair. So we are looking to repair, test, and certify that, and we're working with Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority on that right now. So the fire demand for the project is 2,000 gallons per minute, or over 120 minutes. So this kind of warehouse uses what's known as an ESFR, early suppression fast response sprinkler system, which is typical of warehouses of this scale. So to accommodate for this fire demand, we are proposing a 240,000 gallon water tank located to the northeast of the building, just to the northwest of the entrance truck guardhouse. We also did receive comments from the Fire Advisory Board, and we did return those comments to the board as well. So for sewer, we are requesting to be included into the John Jay Sewer Improvement Area to be treated by the Global Foundries wastewater treatment plant, which is located just to the northeast of our site, just east of the John Jay High School. So we understand that that wastewater treatment plant has a design capacity of 6 million gallons per day, and it's currently treating about 2.89 million gallons per day, so a little over 3 million gallons a day surplus. We are proposing 27,450 gallons per day for the proposed development, which is significantly less, so there are no issues with capacity at the wastewater treatment plant. We also plan on using the existing pump station located at the very northeast corner of the property, just to the east of that existing detention basin. So we were provided the pump reports and all other sanitary sewer system reports. We took a look at the pump curve and analyzed it with the sports dome, with the other build-outs that were planned as part of that pump station. And we analyzed the pump curve, and we found that the existing pump and the existing force main heading to the wastewater treatment plant have capacity for this proposed project. And we also understand that we will be working with Dutchess County Department of Health for this application. So we will be working with them in the near future to get the application. So for electric and gas, we are using Central Hudson Gas and Electric. So there is an existing substation located to the northwest of our site, just east of the existing West Detention Basin, which has more than ample capacity. We're currently working with Central Hudson to calculate the loads, but there is ample capacity in that substation. For gas, there is a gas main in Route 52, again, working with Central Hudson. We are determining the routing, the most optimal solution for the project, but there is ample capacity in the system and no significant upgrades are required. There was also a question last time about generators. So the generators are ground mounted and they are located at the perimeter of the building. Our mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers are finalizing the design, but they are going to be natural gas fueled, so there's no fuel tanks on site, no diesel tanks, nothing, no sort of fuel tanks associated with the generators. So for the landscape, you can see it's a pretty green despite a warehouse. So there are over 700 trees proposed for the project and over 2,100 shrubs. We have a landscape buffer around the perimeter of the site as well as shade trees along Auditorium Drive. So it complies with the ordinance and it also gives a nice aesthetic feel, gives a little buffer around the warehouse. And based on some of the analysis we did from 52, from 84, and from the high school fields, based on the site topography or existing site features, existing landscaping, proposed landscaping, the building and the facility will largely not be visible from the surrounding area. So for lighting, we're using dark sky-friendly, high-efficiency LED lights with cutoff shields to reduce light spillage. The building-mounted lights are at 25 feet and the pole-mounted lights are at 40 feet. And due to the site grades I mentioned previously that I-84 is higher than the surrounding area, so the light poles will sit almost lower, so there's really no light spillage in that vicinity. So there's really no major impact to adjacent properties from that perspective. So that concludes my statements. If anyone has questions or if we want to.
I think we have told you as much as we can in terms of a presentation, and we're pleased to entertain any comments that you may have or from the public.
Before any comments from the town board or planning board, anybody from the public wish to speak? No? With that, anybody from the planning board, town board have any questions, comments for the applicant?
Yes, I'd like to, John, if you may, on the public bypass, is that that's running down Auditorium? Or how is that proposed? Because that was new information.
So, the portion that is on the property, it's Auditorium Drive from 52 right up until it meets up with what's called I-Park Boulevard for the East Campus. This portion is already improved. I-Park Drive all the way out to Lime Kiln Road is the infrastructure or the roadbed for that. It's 2 lanes in each way. It's been servicing the East Campus of the I-Park and Global Foundries development for some time. We're very much aware that that has also been offered for dedication and is being looked at to make sure all the requirements to accept that road so that it would then be a continuous public drive from right at Lime Kiln Road, up through the East Campus, and then up through the West Campus, up to Route 52.
Yeah, I don't know, if, Brendan, has there been assessment from yourself on how much traffic would flow through there, or could, and how does that benefit John Jay
Right.
in that corridor?
If I may, before Brendan, maybe just so the board's aware of the concept that we're working with, what we've decided to do, the town board serving as lead agency, but in studying the traffic, what we are going to do is, as you know, we have this development proposed, iPark has some other things coming in. You have other issues on 52 or another development on the corner. So what we decided as of yesterday with Blue Water and iPark, we're going to have the town advance a traffic plan for that Route 52 corridor from Palin Road just past this site. And the concept would be, I think the board is familiar with it from prior discussions, is that there may be a proposal to DOT for a traffic circle at Auditorium, so that the work that Blue Water is proposing would give us the ability then to have a town road that could serve as a bypass road, so that traffic could come off 52, go through Auditorium, and out South Drive. So because of that, we are going to be analyzing, because theoretically, or I'll say it that way, this project does not have to go to DOT, because in order to function, all of their traffic can go out South Road, and it does, and then Lime Klein is a county road connecting to 84. So I think in the way that we're going to coordinate things, it would be that part of the project would be the roundabout and this public road. They're proposing to upgrade or to bring into conformance with town standards, the Auditorium Drive part, et cetera. And then we've met with iPark about their proposed developments, so we'll factor in that. So we're going to try to put it all together and approach DOT as one project, and hopefully do substantial improvement along that corridor by having this bypass road. And there also is some discussion that there may be a way to create a different drop-off area for the high school off Auditorium once it's developed. So all of that's going to be gotten into in more detail over the next few weeks, because we're on this kind of a timeline. But I just think, I'm sorry, Brendan, I didn't mean to jump in, but that's the concept of the approach, is to unify it, because you're going to be seeing an application from iPark for some warehousing and all of these uses. So that's what the supervisors kind of.
So just to add to that, Chairman and Planning Board, as the attorney described, and as you know, you have seen other applications on that corridor already, with now this one in addition, and then you're going to see another one come actually this week from iPark. So when this all started, it's a little bit overwhelming. What are we going to do? So we started discussing with our traffic engineers, and then we entered into discussions with Blue Water, and yesterday we did speak with iPark, and we're going to come up with this, like the attorney described, a more cohesive traffic mitigation plan for that whole corridor. And we don't know yet how it's going to be determined. Either the town is going to start this improvement area and we going to do it and have everybody have their fair share contribution towards that. We haven't had those details worked out yet, but this is what we are planning to do.
How many lanes is the bypass road?
It's currently 2 lanes in each direction.
Not there, but the improvements that you're making in front of your property.
We're maintaining the current width, right? So it would be, how many lanes? All the way through, on Auditorium through our property, how many lanes?
It's 2 lanes.
2 lanes.
2 lanes, and then South Road, I believe, is 4 lanes.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
And this road could be used at any time? It's not?
From anybody, it'll be a public road then.
So then it would be
So we only have 2
dedicated back
lanes
to the
with
town?
all the
That's
truck
right.
traffic and
But if you read the environmental documents that have been submitted, you'll see that most of the truck traffic is going to be during the night hours from the proposal. So they'll
Now-
be coming in at off times.
In keeping with that line of questioning, though, my question was, are the truck traffic that's coming to that, in and out of that site, are those trucks all controlled by the tenant? Or are there going to be outside trucking companies delivering into the site? Like my question is like basically, how are they going to control the method in which the trucks enter and leave the site?
Well, their point of origin will be from another facility. Their point of departure would be to go to another facility. No other facility is even near that where you would use the local roads. For a driver, if he were to go and use the local roads, it would be a complete mistake on his side, which would cost him time and money. So there's a huge disincentive for him to do that. The way in which the traffic does flow in and out, it is very much dependent upon, carefully coordinated through all of the hours of operation. They are very carefully monitoring the goods that are in the facility, where they're coming from, where they're going to. Those mistakes don't happen.
Yeah, but so then they are monitoring their path?
Oh,
How
yes,
they're
yeah, no,
traveling.
it's
Okay.
highly,
Yeah,
How many shifts are there?
2 shifts.
2 shifts, and what are the times?
The times are, is it 6 to, in the morning peak, it is 6 to 7:15, is that right?
7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., 7 p.m. to 5:30 a.m.
And how many vehicles,
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question, so
how
I'm
many
just,
vehicles do you anticipate during each shift change?
well, Carrie, why don't you come up and talk about the traffic? So Carrie is the traffic engineer on the project, so I'll let her.
So, to answer the shift time question?
Yes.
Yeah. So, the morning shift starts at 7 a.m. Arrival time is between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m., which is outside the street peak, which occurs between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. The evening shift starts at 7 p.m. and ends at 5:30 a.m. So their arrival time is between 5:30 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. for that 7 p.m. shift, that peak arrival. Everyone on the shift doesn't all arrive in that hour, so it is like scattered arrival and departure. And all the employees shown on the trip generation in the appendix, it shows 700 per shift. They're not all necessarily coming in that one morning giant shift or that one evening giant shift. There is traffic throughout the day on like smaller shifts and stuff.
So how many vehicles?
So vehicle-wise, coming in during our facility peak hours, which was that 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., 520 enter, 142 exit. And again, that's not during the peak hours, the peak commute hours. In the evening, from 5:30 to 6:30, it's 203 entering, 394 exiting. And again, the evening commute peak hour is from 4:45 to 5:45, so there's only an overlap of 15 minutes during that time.
So are they going to be told that they have to come out to Limekiln Road instead of going out to 52, or
There can,
what's the plan there?
yeah, I mean, there's definitely employee education that can occur to routes. I mean, the draw to
Well,
this.
what has the study shown? Has it shown how many cars are going to be going out to 52 and how many will be going?
So our traffic study has 75% of the cars using our regional access, which is on Limekiln Road, using the iPark Drive signal. And we have 25% drawing from the local roads and would be coming in on Auditorium Drive.
And during shift change, how many truck vehicles do you anticipate coming into the site?
During the morning, 17 in and 16 out. And then in the evening, it's 6 in and 6 out during that peak shift employee time.
Yeah, because I was just curious on how the entrance to the site for the truck traffic was picked, when all the trucks will be coming in from Limekiln, crossing the employee entrance. I'm just surprised you're not entering in and exiting through the south side of the property. Is there
Yeah, that's
a
true.
reason for that, or?
Trista can expand on that.
Because we're a two-lane highway. I mean, if it's a four-lane, then
Right, so the way these warehouses and industrial facilities in general work is you want a counterclockwise circulation around the truck court. So the purpose for that is if you're a truck driver, you're driving your truck, you pull in, you then want to pull into this trailer space or into this loading dock and you want to back your truck up. You would look over your left shoulder and back in, and because there's no trailer blocking your left shoulder, you can see clear back to the loading dock, and there's a clear view, and it's much safer, whereas if you were going clockwise, you were pulling your truck this way and have to go back in, you're looking over your right shoulder, and your trailer's completely blocking your view. You can't see the loading dock at all. So almost all warehouses are counterclockwise rotation. It's a much, much safer circulation pattern.
I know this isn't your issue in particular, but thinking of all the traffic that's going to be going across iPark Drive there, you know, the iPark group is in the process of building a visitors welcome center type thing right along that road as well, and there's going to be, you know, places for people to sit outside and eat outside at the various places. I'm just wondering how that experience would get diminished by all the additional traffic going through there.
Right, we've had, in our discussions with iPark, we discussed that, and when you see their plans, which are going to be filed shortly, you'll see that there's going to be some of the other roads that are currently mothballed on 52, and they may be activated, and that will change the flow of traffic to the visitors center.
Right.
And then they'll be able to modify or put some privacy area there. They're working on that in their plans.
Specifically for commercial traffic entering the north entrance to the facility there, would noise be an issue for John Jay, especially towards the southern end of their campus?
There is part of the environmental assessment form that addresses sound, and they've done sound readings along the high school.
Yeah.
And the adjoining neighbors, I believe Saxon Woods and Corporate Drive.
An acoustical study was done for the site. So we had our sound engineers out there looking at different sensitive receptor areas of the site. So in this case, you know, the school, you know, residents on the other side, just general areas that would be more sensitive to sound. So they went out there, they measured sound, and just due to the topography, the proximity of 84, and again, we have some sight lines here just to show you. I mean, it's a little far away, but essentially, this middle one here is from John Jay High School, which is, you know, going to be a more sensitive receptor. So, due to the grade change, so the fields are lower than the site, then you also have a significant landscape buffer, partially constructed, but we're also going to spruce that up literally with a Norway spruce and other evergreens. So we're going to have evergreens and a couple of other, you know, buffering measures for both visual and sound. But our sound engineers, our acoustical engineers, even without factoring in any sort of landscaping, just based on the existing conditions and what we're proposing, there are no significant sound acoustic impacts.
I'm looking at your label on there, and it says that that's from the John Jay High School baseball field, which is a couple hundred yards away from the actual school itself. And there is a part that I'm sure you're familiar with where the school is much closer to that road than the baseball field.
In this area?
Right where it says John Jay Senior High School, yeah, because what you're measuring is the baseball field that's under the football field there, which is, you know, some distance away from the actual school. I think the concern was whether or not the noise of these trucks is going to, you know, disturb the kids while they're trying to learn.
Well, I see that the baseball field is closer to the facility than the school is, it looks like.
Right, and again,
most of the kids are going to be in.
Yeah, so if they're in the school and it's not a factor on the field, I don't.
Yeah, but
You
the
know.
truck traffic, correct me if I'm wrong, was on off hours. Most of the truck traffic, was that correct?
The truck traffic is sort of, I believe, scattered kind of throughout.
I mean, the operation, there'll be trucks that'll be moved into dock positions, they'll be moving out of dock positions, so it'll be an ongoing.
Right, and one other thing to note too is that, again, truck traffic, since it's only coming from I-84 and I-Park Drive, you will never have a truck come any closer to the school than this location.
Right.
So there's not gonna be any trucks coming along Auditorium, it's just gonna be, your standard passenger car.
Right.
Which, doesn't have the same sound emissions as, a tractor trailer. So, again, based on the study that they performed, they found no acoustical impacts to the surrounding areas, specifically the high school.
Let me just add, for us and for our tenant, this was a big concern for us long before it came to you. It was, this tenant in particular has a whole internal group on sensitivities to these sorts of things. And one of the big things, we were actually shocked when we thought about it, was the first red flag that went up. You've got a high school close by, you've got trucks, you've got this activity. We need to make sure that there is no shadow overhang or any sense of interaction. So we looked at it heavily. And the grade change, even to the point of we'd be concerned about somebody accidentally walking onto the property. And so we've looked at that, and with the grade change and the vegetation that's there, there's just such a disincentive for that to happen that we were able to get ourselves and our tenant comfortable. And then with these distances, and these sight lines are difficult to see, but we can bring them up so you can see them. It's actually quite dramatic how much. And we had a meeting at the Architectural Review Board on Monday, and we spent a lot of time talking about this, and had demonstrated just how much those sight lines. This project is going to be pretty hidden. I mean, you won't see it from I-84. The only time that you will see it is when you're driving by it, and that's why, to some degree, it is intentionally where the front entrance. All you're going to see is really that front office finish, and it's not intended for there to be much interaction with anything that's happening back here, where it won't be visible or noticed. We even thought about it with regards to, this is part of the property here, so we were thinking about how close are you to any home sites. I-84 creates such a huge barrier for noise in particular, but because of the way the site sits, even when you're driving on the westbound lane, you won't be able to see the facility, and then there's so much vegetation and grade change from here that you won't see it as well from that direction. From the north, you basically have your dome that's in between. There's almost, I don't know, is it 1,500 feet from here just to the property line, never mind to the building. So a lot of our diligence started from there. And again, this is, we know we've done this in so many places across the country. I can't stress to you enough how unique we when we looked at this site, we said, wow, there really are a lot of things that you can take advantage here where you could actually have a building with this facility, and it's not going to be, there just aren't any negative impacts. And it was one of the first things that we noticed. And we said, okay, it's not going to be cheap to do. This is an expensive site. You're going to do a lot of demolition. But this is something we should really try to figure out.
Great. Thank you.
Just something that I'm just thinking of now is on 84 there, is there any thought of creating just like an entrance only onto 84 West that could cut part of your traffic from going through the whole site? 'Cause if you think about it, if you've ever been to Monticello Raceway, they have a huge parking lot there, and they have a little way at the back of the parking lot where you hop right on the 17 immediately from there. And if you're heading 17, towards the city or towards 84 from there, you don't have to go back around through the local roads there. So I know that the existing road is very close and parallel with 84. So if you could just, if there's some way to.
You're saying to somehow put a slip ramp?
Yeah.
Maybe an act of-
That you would call it.
That's against FHWA standard. You can't have a direct entrance off of a federal highway.
Not from interstate highway.
Maybe
I mean,
an act of
I think the
God.
tenant would love that.
Well, it's
Yeah,
on-
you can't do that.
It is on Route 17, which is,
Well,
it's
Route 17, yeah,
existing,
it has-
and that is also considered to be
It has-
Interstate
it ha-
86.
It had to be changed.
It has occurred in places, not generally as something new. Even, you know, just recently, they reconstructed the interchange in Woodbury, where Woodbury Commons is.
Right.
Woodbury Commons used to have a direct entrance right into their facility, and that was taken away from them when they reconstructed it, because it's not something that, you know, you just can't do that for private development.
Let me give you just a little bit of perspective. So the largest concentration of industrial development in this region is in central New Jersey at one exit 8A off the New Jersey Turnpike. And if you've driven that, you may have seen all of it. There is 80 million square feet of development at that intersection. It utilizes one intersection that then dumps out onto a two-lane road with one traffic light. 80 million square feet of development. And that actually functions. Imagine my surprise when I was driving along I-84, and to get off the highway are dual lanes that come up to a light. You take the turn, and then you immediately have dual left-hand turn lanes. At this light, to turn onto a drive that has dual lanes traveling to the site. It was quite a nice and interesting drive.
It's a beautiful place to develop.
And to address one of the questions that came before, traditionally, you normally have these sites, these buildings on just a road, an access road or a frontage road where it's just one lane in each direction. You may have a turn lane, but that's usually the best that you get. So as you drive through the iPark road, you have the ability to have a pass-through lane while somebody is decelerating to take a right into iPark. It's ideal. It's really quite wonderful. And then when you leave, as somebody is driving out of iPark, you also have the ability for somebody to make that turn and accelerate without having to rush, without having to be worried about traffic on the side.
So is there going to be turning lanes going into the parking lot and also going into the truck entrance?
Here, what do we have a dedicated turning lane into the truck? It's once you're going.
Why wouldn't you just follow the 4 lanes all the way out to 52?
Because
A, it's
they're
not
cutting that road,
necessary.
they're cutting that road off anyway.
And B, what we're trying to do is as you come through
No, that's going to be 2 lanes all the way to there, and then it's 4 lanes at iPark Drive, right?
Yeah, but this is, again, for the purposes of this development, if we just had if you go to any one of these facilities and you would have a access drive, 36-foot wide drive is more than sufficient. Again, for this plan, there is so much debate that goes on. These prototype buildings are analyzed upwards and downwards to avoid conflicts. We actually originally had some parking over on the east side. We had to figure out how to get it over on the west because we don't want anybody crossing over onto the street. Understand what you're saying. The actual functioning of it functions actually quite well. So as you're driving by here, by the time the truck is turning, you're past where the cars are entering in to park to then enter into the
And also
building.
leaving. And they could also be going out to 52.
Well, then they're leaving from this side.
No, I'm talking about the cars. When they're coming out of the parking lot, they could be making a left-hand turn out to go towards 52.
Yeah, it just, again, most of that car traffic is all going to be oriented towards iPark. It's just, I understand what you're saying. It's just the way, and this is, all of these facilities, and this is something that they have many of them. It actually operates quite well.
So in the contribution set up for the 52 improvements and for whatever else is needed for the traffic circle at 52, have we also looked to see whether there's any improvements that'll be needed to make sure that Lime Kiln can support this level of traffic and that level of trucks?
You want to go, why don't you go, we can walk you through that.
So, I mean, the way Lime Kiln is built, like you said, coming in, you have a double left turn lane in, which, I mean, the capacity there to accommodate turns and the length of those storage lanes, that can hold a lot of traffic. And then coming out, I mean, most of this traffic is going to 84. That's an uncontrolled movement coming out. That opens up to 2 lanes towards the 84
Yeah,
interchange.
I'm saying less about the actual path of the road. I'm saying more about the durability with that level of trucks and the weight and.
No, yeah. So, coming out here, this right turn lane is uncontrolled. It's a free movement. It opens up into 2 whole lanes down towards the interchange. You know, if that alone is not controlled by a signal, they can constantly just keep free flowing. So.
I'm talking about the
I
durability
think she's
of
talking
the-
more about the condition of the pavement.
Yes.
Right. Lori, I will tell you that the part from Auditorium Drive to the end of their property, you know, in conjunction with the town engineer, we are looking at that pavement condition to make sure that it's suitable for the amount of truck traffic. You know, the segment of Hyde Park Boulevard will also need to be looked at. The county road, I mean, the county did, you know, they have or are reviewing the project, so I think, you know, that road is, you know, probably built to the state spec of, you know, being able to handle significant truck traffic.
It's a 4-lane highway.
Yeah, right.
And is your expectation is most of that truck traffic that's going to go to 84 and is heading westbound, not eastbound?
Correct.
Is that-
Yeah. Actually have the actual distribution. So we sent 40% to the east and 60% to the west for the truck traffic.
If I may, the undeveloped portion of the parking lot, you know, the extra portion above your paved area there that you've proposed on there but not going to finish, what's going to be the trigger for that to be done?
Well, I guess I think that's an answer that only the owner of the sports dome can answer. Our obligation is to provide for an area for 500 spaces, and that's what we're doing.
Okay.
That's the reconfiguration of the sports, so you weren't on the board then, but
Right.
with the sports dome, they had an agreement with the prior property owner that
so
they
it's
could,
staying
for excess, you know, infrequent, not regular parking. And the private agreement that the 2 property owners had allowed it to be reconfigured, and so that's the reconfigurement.
I think if I were to recreate the history, I wasn't around back then, my sense, this was all the West Campus. The owner was one owner. They decided to sell the 33 acres. I'm sure the developer of that said, well, we only need this amount, and they negotiated what amount they needed, but then for their use, for that particular use, they may have a peak need or for special events, and they came to this arrangement. Rather than selling them more property, they said, we'll let you use it on the occasion that you might need it. A little bit of an odd way to accommodate the needs of both, but that's how they did it.
But then it would become the responsibility of the dome property owner to
Have it in a usable
So the
state.
dome would have to build out that parking lot, or?
Well, first of all, the dome's approval's expired, so we don't know what's going to be on the front property. Secondly, the agreement is a private agreement between the 2 property owners. It allows for it to be relocated and reconfigured with the consented, the town for the layout. So that's the layout that would be proposed to be consented to. Anything beyond that is going to be an issue between the two property owners as to what degree they have to improve it or not.
Well, was that agreement carried over?
Yes, it's filed against the property, it's a legal document,
So whose property is?
Can you come up to the,
it's on Blue Water.
So whether it's a Dome or anybody else, they cannot construct that parking lot. They would have to construct the parking lot.
No, I'm not
The
saying.
construction of the parking lot is for the agreement between the two property owners. We have to consent to where the parking lot would be. After that, we have no say.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, besides traffic or other concerns about the site plan, the planning board will be having an adjourned public hearing for their site plan. For the town board, though, we are to determine to issue an economic redevelopment special permit. So I just want to ask a few questions about jobs and economic development for this area. Can you explain a little how many jobs this is going to potentially have an impact to our community?
So the way the facility works, it's 729 employees per shift. And, those are not all full-time jobs. So the way in which it's being discussed, in sort of a conservative way, it's 500 full-time equivalents, but in reality, it's many more jobs.
Okay, so I know that we've been speaking with the IDA, you've been working very closely with them, also New York State Empire Development, so there's going to be a lot of advantages for our community as well, so,
Yes, correct.
want to hear. Board members?
Most of those employees are assumed to be within the local area. Dutchess County and the immediate area. All within, the commuting pattern is within, say, 30 minutes of the site.
What kind of jobs are these? Is this minimum wage, or this is, $20, $30
No,
an hour?
I mean, they're warehousing jobs.
Okay.
And so there's management positions as part of that to run the facility, both in terms of the technology that's there, as well as oversight of the operations. But then primarily, it's warehousing jobs.
Any other questions from the art board, town board?
Nope.
No? Planning board?
Is there any hazardous materials that'll be stored on site?
No, not at all.
Any other comments from the public? Anybody from the public wish to speak after hearing presentation and our questions? Any other comments from the planning board? No? Okay, so at this time, for the town board, make a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Chairman, you want to adjourn your public hearing?
motion to adjourn the public hearing to December 8th.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And thank you.
Planning board,
Appreciate it.
thank you very much. Chairman, thank you. All appreciate your involvement tonight. We're going to take a 10-minute break and get back to the rest of the meeting after that.